All right, good evening, everyone. We are going to start tonight's session. We're going to talk a little bit about some scholarship information, but what I really want to jump into tonight as well, because I gave up a lot of scholarship information last week, I want to kind of do a recap of last week, and then I want to talk a little bit about how to start organizing your scholarship portfolio, basically making a master plan for your scholarship. So we'll jump right off into it. I'm going to share my screen with you all at this time, and we'll have a brief recap of last week, and then we'll talk a little bit about where we're going next.
As a former high school turnaround principal and collegiate dual credit coordinator, Mr. R.J. Strauss, M.Ed., has helped students secure hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships. He will gladly do the same for you. December, January, and February are critical months for scholarship applications. This video is your essential strategy for success.
This video will cover the student loan policy overhaul, focusing on key changes and impacts. Visit the website shown for more information. Key policy changes include borrowing limit adjustments and repayment plan shifts. Graduate Plus loans are eliminated for new borrowing. New borrowers are limited to the standard plan and the new repayment assistance plan. Some professional programs are eligible for higher borrowing limits, up to $50,000 annually and $200,000 lifetime aggregate. These include fields like medicine, dentistry, and law. Many other graduate programs remain under lower standard caps. The policy implementation begins in 2026, eliminating the Graduate Plus loan and putting new graduate and parent borrowing caps into effect. A transition period leads to the July 1st, 2028 deadline for new enrollment in legacy IDR plans. Graduate students and parent borrowers are most affected by the changes. Undergraduate students are least affected, though repayment options will change for post-2026 loans. Legacy borrowers can retain access to current IDR plans if enrolled before the 2028 deadline. Federal Pell Grant eligibility is impacted by changes to the Student Aid Index calculation. Changes include ineligibility due to high SAI or external aid, foreign income inclusion in AGI, and asset exclusion reinstatement for family farms and small businesses. Legacy provisions for current borrowers include the continuation of current borrowing limits for a limited time. Existing IDR plans are available initially, but most sunset by July 1st, 2028. Loan forgiveness will generally be taxable starting in 2026, with exceptions for PSLF and TPD discharge. The Federal Perkins Loan Program has been discontinued since June 30th, 2018. The federal wind down involves institutions transitioning remaining loan accounts. Borrowers are still responsible for repayment, and existing loan terms remain unchanged. Scholarships are a key part of funding your education. Opportunities like the Equitable Excellence, Big Future, Niche No Essay, and GE Reagan Foundation scholarships have upcoming deadlines. Get started today.
For more scholarship information, please visit the www.rjstraussenterprises.com. Follow, share, and subscribe to the social media community via the links at the bottom of the website. Never be a victim of lack of funding, poor planning, or lack of intention. Crush your goals with peace of mind. Let Mr. R.J. Strauss, MED, help your students achieve your collective goals with love, knowledge, and accountability.
All right. So that was a brief recap from last week, and we spoke about the loans that were being adjusted for grad school students, the loan limits for undergraduate and graduate school students. We spoke about all of those things, and we kind of put it into perspective what we were looking for. I want to do something really quickly. Let's see. And it's just a simple picture. I want to show you this picture. Zero student loan debt. Okay. Um, I know a lot of you all may be first generation graduates, such as myself. A lot of our generation were the first gen to go to college and explore college, and not just career. Okay, to go to a institution of higher learning, and how much money, how much debt did we accumulate doing that? Not being educated to how financial aid worked, not being educated as to where to go to get these scholarships, how to put together scholarship packets, how to do master data sheets for scholarships and whatnot. It was just lack of exposures. And then some of us were a little bit better off because we had very good programs like Upward Bound and TRIO programs, talent search, educational talent search. It kind of started getting us acclimated to a university setting earlier than we normally would have been exposed to it because of those programs. So we were fortunate enough to have those programs. But fast forward to now, and a lot of the things that we had back then are no longer in place. This current administration has done away with the grants that funded programs like Upward Bound and the TRIO programs and the educational talent search. Those programs were Title III programs. A lot of those things have been wiped away. A lot of those things have been gone with this current administration with the agenda of getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs or programs labeled as diversity, equity, and inclusion specific. And so with those things went those funding sources that provided those vouchers for books for those first couple of semesters of first generation students, as well as all of those supplemental materials that were available, the resources that were available through Upward Bound and Educational Talent Search and whatnot. All of those programs are gone. And how they used to be funded, in terms of how they used to be funded, they are still around. I don't want to say that they're gone, but they don't have the same funding to that. So zero student loan debt. When we start amassing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt, by the time you make that money back in your career, in your chosen career, you're in debt. Your credit score has been affected. Your ability to buy a home has been affected. Your ability to provide for children, if you have children, that has been affected. So, what if you could give your child a head start at generational wealth? How much is that worth to you? What if you can give your child zero loan debt when they're graduating and starting their profession? How much is that worth to you? Hmm. I think about, I started college at 19. I started teaching at 19, I'm sorry. Started college at 17. Um, when I graduated from college at mm, about $85,000 worth of loan debt. And I was in education. And at the time, there was no program that would wipe away loans for educators at the time. And then there's some things that came about later. But by that time, I was already in arrears. So some of those programs I wasn't able to get. I had a child at 19. I was trying to take care of my child at 19. I was trying to go to college. I was trying to take care of a, a young family. I was making sure my mom was okay. I was making sure, my community was cool. And financially, I really stressed financially, to make ends meet. So as a parent, you never want your child to have to struggle like that. So what if you knew how to avoid financial struggle for your child? The ability to allow them to graduate debt free. All right. That's what we're talking about tonight. How much is that worth to you? I know I would have easily paid $4,000 or $5,000 if somebody would have given me the key. at that time to securing scholarships that would have wiped away what I eventually had to pay for my college. We're going to talk a little bit about starting to organize that type of a situation. And originally my plan was to just keep kind of pushing out information and information for free. And then I had some people that reached out to me and they said, look, all of the information that you're giving is great, but we don't necessarily know how to use it exactly. So could you please assist us with using this information? Could you please assist us with making this information accessible and digestible for my student and for me? Then I had other parents who said, they had a lot going on, which we all do, and, understandably so. They had a lot going on, and they did not necessarily have the time and the know-how to devote towards searching through all of those scholarships, finding things that was specific to their children. So they wanted to help the best way that they possibly could because they love and they care about their child. And they did, and they recognized that deficiency. That's a great parent. All right. They recognized that they could not provide that certain thing. And so they're seeking a way to do so. So in doing so, what I started to do as of last week, all of the information that I had, all of the information that I started compiling over the years, all of the networking and the connections that I've made over the years, I started putting all of that together as a scholarship boot camp for students who are juniors or seniors and getting ready to start their scholarship journey and with the intention and the goal of free college for them. Okay. And I'm not just talking about the 4.0 student or the 5.0 student who's done all AP and all of the dual credit courses. I'm talking about students who have a 2.4, have a 2.5, made a 20 on the ACT or a 21 on the ACT, may have skills in career zone, but not necessarily in college readiness. Um, so I'm talking about those students. I'm talking about making the dream of college accessible for those students. Students who may have a very attractive academic side, but they haven't done any community service. They haven't participated in any extracurricular activities to show that they were well-rounded students. So I want to reach out to those students and I want to put something in place that would help those students. So I will share a screen with you really quickly again. Let's see here.
Hey guys, RJ Strauss here. We are about to view one of the dynamic tools in the arsenal of the Scholarship Bootcamp Saturday sessions or Sunday sessions. This particular tool is called the Scholarship Master Data Sheet. It's an entry-level tool. We're going to show you how to use it. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Okay, let's get into it. We're looking at a really powerful tool today, the Scholarship Bootcamp 2026 Master Data Sheet.
Right.
And our goal here is to, quickly break down what makes it work.
Okay.
The whole idea is to make applying for scholarships, well, less of a nightmare.
Exactly. It's about turning it into a simple copy and paste job.
A CRIDL plus C, CRIDL plus V process.
And what I think is so smart about this is how they've structured it. To avoid that feeling of just, total overwhelm, they break all the information you could possibly need into four main buckets. You've got the essentials, fast-track data, something called the evidence bank, and then a financial and document checklist.
So if you fill it out once, you're basically set for the long haul.
That's the idea. You do the work up front.
All right, so let's start with those foundational items, the non-negotiables. The sheet calls them the essentials.
Yeah, your global data, and this is the stuff every single portal is going to ask for.
It's more than just name and address, right? It's the details you're always scrambling for at 2 in the morning, like your high school CEEB code.
The CEEB code, yes.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, that's just a standard code for your high school. But it's critical. It lets them validate your transcript instantly.
And I see they're also really specific about class rank format.
Oh, yeah. They insist you write it as a fraction, like, say, 12 out of 450.
Just to make sure there's zero ambiguity for the person reading it.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on from the absolute basics, there's this next category, fast-track data. And this is for the no essay applications.
Right, the quick ones.
And some of the things listed here aren't what you'd immediately think of. Like, they say you need your career goal boiled down to just one single sentence.
That synthesis is so important. And this whole section really is about unlocking those niche awards.
How so?
Well, they ask for your total community service hours, the exact number. And also specific demographic tags. Are you first gen? Are you into STEM? Bilingual.
Ah, I see. So those tags can filter you into smaller, less competitive pools of money.
That's the strategy.
But I do have to ask about one thing here. It lists parent or guardian employer as a must-have. Why is that considered so critical for a fast-track section?
That is such a good question, and the answer is purely about money. It's for corporate-sponsored scholarships.
Okay.
Think about companies like Boeing or Walmart or maybe a local utility. They all have scholarships just for the families of their employees.
So if you have that data ready, you can instantly apply to a much smaller internal competition.
You got it. It lets you seize those opportunities without any delay.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, for the part that I think scares people the most, the essays. The sheet calls it the evidence bank. And the instruction here is really strategic. It says to keep all your little stories, your blurbs, between 50 and 100 words. Why that specific length?
It's all about flexibility. A blurb that size is short enough to paste into almost any small text box on an application.
But it's also substantial enough to build on.
Precisely. You're not starting from a blank page when suddenly you need a 500-word essay. You've got the core idea, the anecdote, right there.
And what kind of blurbs are we talking about?
They focus on the big four topics every committee wants to see. A leadership role you had, a time you overcame an obstacle,
Okay.
how your degree will create a future impact on your community, and then just your basic work experience company, dates, and your top 2 duties.
And that brings us to the final piece, the financial and document checklist. These are the actual files you need ready to go.
It's digitized and ready to upload.
Yeah.
Your unofficial transcript, a really polished, standardized resume.
And I see they're very clear about needing 2 different letters of recommendation.
Yes. One has to be purely academic from a teacher.
Yeah.
The other is about your character.
So a coach, a mentor, someone like that.
Right. And you can't miss the key financial number they highlight.
Which is?
Your FAFSA SAI score, the student aid index. You need that exact number handy. It saves you from digging through your whole FAFSA report every time an app asks for it.
So if we boil this all down, the main takeaway seems to be that real preparation isn't just about collecting documents.
No, it's about structuring your data. It's about turning your life's details and stories into pre-written, organized answers.
Turning chaos into consistency.
And there's one last pro tip in here that I love. It says if you ever find a new question on an application one that isn't already on your master sheet, you add it immediately.
So every application you fill out makes the next one even faster. It's a living document.
It's a system that gets smarter over time.
So, since the system is so effective at organizing all these different data points and stories for something as high stakes as scholarships, it does raise an interesting question. How could you maybe apply the same idea of a master data sheet with these pre-written blurbs to streamline other big applications in your life? I mean, things like grant proposals or even just tailoring cover letters for a bunch of different job opportunities.
Meeting is telling me it's almost time to go. So I'm going to share a screen with you one last time for tonight. And of course, we'll be right back here again on next Thursday, sharing some great information with you. If everything that I've explained to you thus far, everything that we talked about in terms of the master data sheet and scholarship information and availability for those things, if everything makes sense to you, I want to show you how to sign up for the Saturday session boot camps, okay? And I'll tell you where to go and what to click on and all that good stuff. So I'm sharing the screen with you right now, and you would need to go to www.rjstraussenterprises.com. And as soon as you go to rjstraussenterprises.com, there will be information regarding the sessions that have been going on. I want you to do a favor for me and scan that QR code that's located inside that advertisement for the Urgent Financial Aid 2026, just so that I can have that your email for direct communication very quickly. And then I also want you to fill this form out because this will go directly to the request for the boot camp. Okay. So you'll put your first name here, last name here, and you'll put your email. You'll list your subject area and you'll list your message. And in your subject area, I would like for you to put Saturday session boot camp. And that way it's an easy identifier for me. I can go in and grab your information, say, hey, these are the dates that are coming up that's available for the Saturday session boot camp. And then I'll be able to shoot that information right over to you. So once you fill out all of those sections, you'll click submit. And that's the first thing that you need to do. And then the second thing that you need to do, if you click on services, you can read all that good information. And on services, you'll go to student development series. Once you go to student development series, you'll click there. And in this drop down, you'll go to scholarship boot camp. Scholarship boot camp. Now I want you to pay close attention right now because I don't like, to throw out any surprises or anything like that. Look at the price for this scholarship boot camp. The price is $99.99. All right. How much would you pay for your student to go to school debt free? Well over $99. That's approximately 5 trips to McDonald's. That's probably one fill up, a cup of coffee, and a breakfast sandwich. One fill up of gas, I'm talking about, a cup of coffee and a breakfast sandwich. Okay. Pretty sure your child is worth more than that to go to school debt free. So I wanted to keep it low. I wanted to keep the cost low because other services are way more expensive in terms of coaching and whatnot. But I wanted to keep the cost low for this because I wanted to make sure that it was affordable and that it was achievable for even the brokest of people. Because I know how broke I was giving plasma twice a week, every week, and was still able to up for the Sylvan Learning Center for my son because he struggled trying to make a 21 on the ACT, and we took that joker 8 times. Why? Because I prioritized his education, and he graduated debt free. Okay, so I knew what to do at the time, and I did it. When you know better, you're obligated to do better. So I'm just informing you. Of course, you do what you want. It's your money. I'm not trying to sell you anything in terms of me going out there and acting as a salesman. If you want it, fine. If you don't want it, that's fine too. Okay. So, but I do want to put in place a measure of accountability. Okay. And what I mean by that is when people actually have to pay for something, they take it way more seriously. Okay, because now the reinforcer of boy, you better not waste my money, or girl, you better go over there and learn what you need to learn and apply for these things. Trust me, the value is the value is several thousand times more. Just look at the for college nowadays, and we will take a look at that on next Thursday. What's the average cost and why these boot camps make sense? And why this particular boot camp makes sense. Because unlike some boot camps, by the end of this boot camp, your child will have already applied to no less than 10 scholarships. None of those scholarships are $10 a piece. I'm just saying. So just with that information, just with those 10 scholarships, well over the value of what the cost of this course is. But there's a measure of accountability that's in place. So I will start that each class. I'm not taking on more than 15 to 20 students because I want to do the following week as a follow-up and a check-in and accountability. So it's not just the 4 hours, it's the 4 hours worth of the scholarship boot camp, directly dedicated, being intentional on applying for these 10 scholarships, organizing the data, getting this information together. But then there's another measure of accountability. There's a check-in on that following week to see if they applied for the next 10. And then there's another check-in to see if they've applied for the next 10. And I'm going to do that until the scholarship deadlines for all of the scholarships that they have identified have come to pass, because they may have an email question that I want to address directly to them in a breakout room. There may be something that needs to be asked that may be a little bit more sensitive, that an individual want a private message about, or a private Zoom call with the parents about, to kind of discuss what needs to be put in place, or possible remedies. There's even other things like knowing if the company that's offering the scholarship is in good standing, and if they're going to be around to honor what they actually say they're going to give you. Some honestly do it for promotional purposes, and then they don't fulfill or can't fulfill a sustained 4-year scholarship for all of the individuals that they've promised money to. So don't fall in those pits. You know, I've heard them, I know them. All right, so that is actually all that I have for today. So what did we do? Just a brief recap. You can go to my page, and you are definitely able to take a look at that video again, because there are some scholarships on, let's see here, this slide. I'm going to put, for those of you who subscribe to me on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to put this slide deck in the YouTube subscription group, and also in the Facebook subscription group, and also the grandparents and guardians raising kids group that I started, because I'm trying to bridge some of the gap of technology and those things in those groups. So this information will be there. These links will actually be clickable, and you can just click on those links and go straight to those scholarships and start applying for them now. I will do my best to drop that in those groups shortly, because there is one scholarship, the Equitable Excellence Scholarship, that will be closing out tonight, December 18th. And then you have a few for December 31st. If you need some assistance with something, please email me, and you can email me at Ricky, RICKY, Strauss, STRAUSS, at rjstraussenterprises.com, and I will be happy to assist you. Brother must sleep sometime. So, please expect at least a 12-hour turnaround on that. So if there's an issue with one of these scholarships, if you're trying to apply for one of these scholarships, which is the Equitable Excellence Scholarship tonight, inbox me on Facebook, and I can shoot something over to you, to get something to you quickly, to kind of guide and help out. Maybe a version of the master data sheet, so you can at least apply for that particular scholarship. All of these things are not designed to cost something. I want to help. That's what I've been here for. This is what I plan to do. And of course, I'm going to do them until I expire. So, but we do need to have a measure of accountability. And so the boot camp cost for a 4-hour class, $99. You cannot beat that. So we are trying to fill up each class session with at least 20 students. And we'll do those class sessions weekly, and there'll be a bi-weekly check-in, so that we can make sure you're staying on track. You can check in and have your emails answered, have a quick Zoom call that may shed some light on a sensitive subject, so that you can complete your application, all of those good things. So, all right, guys, I think you had enough information and enough of me yapping about all this good stuff. If you want to put this good stuff to use ASAP, hit me in the inbox and let's get rocking. All right, love y'all. If y'all need anything, again, please reach out. Um, and that's about it. RJ Strauss signing off for tonight. And I'll see you again on next Thursday, same time, same place, 7 o'clock, and we'll rock for an hour. All right, have a good one.